Whether we want to face them or not, we're all faced with situations in our lives that are causing us tremendous amounts of stress. Can you relate to what I'm saying here? You could be facing a job loss, you could be faced with bills piling up, and you're worried about how you're going to pay them off, or perhaps things are so stressful in your family relationships that you just can't see how to break out of them. I remember what it was like back not too long ago in 2017 when I was working my hotel job that I wasn't happy with. So I remember this was the second job that I got as a corporate job, and I worked as a breakfast attendant at a Marriott hotel. Now, in that job, I was not happy there. I had to get up super early, like 4 in the morning, and to be able to make it to work around 5 in the morning. And when I got there, I had nobody helping me out with setting up the breakfast area. So get this, I had to cook the breakfast food, I had to set up everything, and I also had to do all these things, stocking each and every single area of the dining area in which I was going to be serving hundreds of people daily. I remember getting so burned out on so many days, and there were even times where I was so stressed out, feeling like I just couldn't take it, especially when some people that were guests at the hotel, they were not happy with the way I was providing service. And it was tough for me because I was working all by myself a majority of the time. There was nobody helping me. So in case it got busy at the hotel, I was stuck having to fend for myself. So if there was food running out, I would have to refill that food. If there was something out of stock, I would have to go and refill it myself. But every time I worked, I had to serve about hundreds of people every time. And it was very stressful for me. To top things off, I had an unreasonable boss. That boss was not a nice lady. She was someone that you could not work with. And no matter what you do, she just was never happy with the work that was put out. And there came a breaking point for me. There came the breaking point in which I was feeling sick to my stomach. I contracted a stomach virus and I had to go to the hospital. And because of that, I had to call off work. I couldn't show up to work. And so I had to go to the hospital, get my stomach virus treated. And then the day that I came back to work, which was about 2 days that I took off from work, I got presented with a write-up from my manager. So she was not happy that I called off, even though I had a reasonable excuse, but she wrote me up anyways, calling me irresponsible. Now, I remember I was just pissed off. I didn't like how I was being treated at that workplace. So I started looking for another job. And when I went to look for another job, thinking I was going to get that job, the rug was pulled from under me when I finished my last day at work. And I was left in a rut where my finances were suffering. I didn't know what to do, where to go from here. And I just felt like I couldn't continue building this internet marketing business. So I had to take some time off and think about what is happening around me. And I got so devastated and I got sad and depressed. Why? Because I felt like I couldn't do it. Because there were all these things around me happening. And I thought, this is where it was meant to stay, and there was nothing I can do about it. Is this hitting home with you? We often think that we need to put a focus on our circumstances, but it's not true. I'm not saying ignore whatever is going on around you. Don't ignore the circumstances, whatever situations you're faced with, but you don't have to put a focus on them to the point you're only thinking about that. Because if you do, you won't be able to move. You'll be freezing in place, and you won't be able to go forward to claim what is waiting for you on the other side. And this is so important because oftentimes when we're faced with things like a job loss, for instance, because that's what I went through for most of 2017, I experienced a job loss. It took a toll not only on my finances, but it also took a toll on my well-being too. I was feeling depressed. I was just down in the dumps like you would not believe. And if you look at some of my old photos from back in that time, I was not smiling much because this is what I was going through. And it was not a pretty sight. But looking back at that moment in time, I realized something. There just came a point where I was 9 months into being unemployed after the whole shenanigans I went through all those 9 months. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm tired of being like this. I don't want to keep feeling sorry for myself. I don't want to be focused on these circumstances I'm presented with right now, because I know that things can change. We don't need to put a focus on those circumstances. We can acknowledge them, but we don't have to put a focus on them. And I learned something from Myron Golden where he says, circumstances are nothing more than you standing in a circle. Just stop standing in that circle. And when you do that, you'll start seeing things change. Because everything that's around you in those circumstances are designed to keep you in your place. They're not meant to help you grow. They're meant to be limitations that, oh, look at what's going on around you right now. You can't do anything about it. Focus on that pain. But on the other side of that, there's something wonderful waiting for you. You got to look beyond your circumstances, because where you are right now, it's not where it's meant to stay. Where you are right now, it's not where it's meant to stay. You can change your life at any given moment in time. You just need to make the decision to finally break free from all the bullshit that is surrounding you. Because enough's enough. If you keep focusing on those circumstances, how are you going to progress? How are you going to achieve, like, say, building a business? How are you going to be able to be that individual that is deserving of success if you don't break free from those circumstances? You just simply need to make a decision right now in this moment in time, because we're not promised tomorrow, the next day, or anywhere after that. There is only the present moment. There is only the now. So make that decision to go beyond your circumstances, because I went beyond mine. And because of that, my journey has been very rewarding. I earned my first $1,650.13 online, but that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't get out of my own way, looked beyond my circumstances, and trusted in the process. You're going to be tested a lot of times in your life. When you have circumstances going on, you're being tested. And when you're faced with those situations, you got to remember something. It's not where it's meant to stay. You can change that at any moment in time, no matter what is going on around you. So I impart that message to you today because I understand what it's like to be going through such turmoil situations in which there's no hope for. But I'm here to tell you that there is hope. If you only just shifted your focus, changed your mindset, and go look for that silver lining in the cloud. Because amidst all this adversity around you, there is opportunity present if you go look for it.